Can IT have its own culture separate from the rest of the business and still be effective? So maybe that's not the CEO's gig, but the IT leader can own that within his or her own team.
I think so. One of the comments I would share is not all companies are the same. Not all cultures are the same. The different levels of complexity. So, I come out of one firm that was probably 70,000 employees, over 30 trillion in assets on probably 6 or 7 continents. And, here we're 425 employees. We're US based principally, et cetera, et cetera. The level of trust and complexity and culture is a factor, and you have to pay attention to what is your company's culture. But I do believe for the IT here in Glenmede, we form something called CARE. So it's courteous, actionable, responsive, and empathetic. And for the past 2 years, we've been doing CARE in IT because with the evolution of cloud and multi-organizational projects, the complexity to execute has actually increased because it's no longer all running in your data center. And my managers had competing priorities. So part of CARE is to say, look, guys, every 90 days I do a town hall. And I said, well, we did really well in the past 90 days. What our collective focus as an entire department needs to be for the next 90 days. And so part of caring is if someone's coming to you with any of these larger initiatives, their priorities, and you have to be empathetic and recognize it may not have been your priority, but it's a colleague, so you need to help service that. We do that. We take 2 surveys a year. We share the surveys back with the team. We do lunch and learns. So that has come on beautifully. Our departmental score was, let's say, a C plus when we started. Now I'd say it's hovering about a B plus, A minus in just a 2-year period. So I think you can have a subculture, but it can never be unaligned to the corporate culture, right? So you have to know where those boundaries are, and you could do more, right? We actually do more within the culture because we're such a tight-knit group, but we don't conflict any part of the corporate culture. It's complementary, and we take it even further. I think that's how we're able to do it pretty effectively.
That's a great point, and I think that's what I was getting at is, can you do something more? Because I think someone can still have a decent culture, but then someone might want to take it up a notch. And in response to what you just mentioned, the complexity of cloud, I think that's really interesting how you've broken that down a bit, because I do think complexity is a real challenge, and is the responsibility of the IT leader to handle that. And so how have you managed through change and through complexity?
So for us, it comes down to, how would I say it? Organized but lightweight governance, right? So you do want to have governance that supports the concept of agility, but it also empowers, but it has guide rails, bumper rails, like for when you were bowling, when you were a kid, right? You may get a lot of ones, but you're kind of knowing you're going to get something on the scoreboard. So for us, it came down to just 2 concepts of governance. One is we have multiple digital platforms. So there's an investment digital platform concept for trading, portfolio management, compliance, et cetera. There's a digital servicing platform for how our internal staff services our clients and the things they need to know when that phone rings. So we build these platforms based on these concepts, and each of those platforms have an advisory team. The advisory team is made up of an IT person or more, business co-chairs, and other parts of the organization based on the intent of that advisory team. They meet virtually weekly. They set priorities. They help influence budget and direction. But to help accelerate decision making, and they're very empowered, there's also steering committees with anyone from the COO, myself, the president of the firm, etc. And every month, these advisory teams report into a steering committee with what they've accomplished, if there's decisions that need to be made, if they need incremental budget, if they're kind of stuck on a decision because there's a gridlock within the advisory team, and we make decisions right there, and it continues to go forward.